All right, welcome back to Modern Agent Blueprint. We are doing part two because last time was so good and we chatted the whole time and never finished the rest of our sticking points here on some of these talking points with clients. So today we're going to be talking about tough conversations with your clients and how to handle them like a pro. And we have some pros on this call right now. We got Jeremy, Angie, and Lindsay, Marissa on here right now. We're going to continue to let people on as they come through. I know some people who were on here last time couldn't be on today, and they were so bummed because they really liked the conversations we were having last time. But we're going to have them hop on and watch the replay later, and hopefully get some other people on today. But we were just talking off camera before we started recording about even some tough conversations that we're having now with the market and like where Angie's at. They do a lot of auctions there, which is not common in our market at all. And, some of the conversations that she has to have with her clients regarding that and, kind of like what you're up against, even as a realtor, when they could potentially go to auction and get way more than what they expected. And I know, with the situation that I'm in with a client, we were overpriced, we were doing reductions and we're doing, negotiating on some stuff. It's tough. I know Lindsay's was dealing with kind of a tough situation too with commission, and procuring cause. And it's like, every day it's an adventure in this business. And I think the first thing, Angie, what'd you say? The first thing you said was, do you ever just want to not do this job anymore? And sometimes it's like, yeah, every day. Sometimes I question my sanity for this position and this job. But I read somewhere, and I kind of want to find this post. I wish I should have screenshot it because I thought it was an excellent way of handling a situation. Let me see if I can find it really quickly, because I think it was a fantastic response to this message. But if I can't find it quickly, I'm just going to tell you what it said. Um, Okay, I'm not seeing it right away, so I'm not going to sit here and try to fumble with it. But long story short, somebody just said she's struggling in this business in real estate, and some days she just wants out of it and she doesn't want to do it. And a realtor who I know replied, and it was one of the best responses I saw. And it said, the hard days are hard. In real estate, it's a roller coaster. Every day is different. You're unemployed after your last closing. You're starting fresh every single time. But the one thing that can't be replaced in this business is the freedom that we have and the ability to work our schedule around our lives. So in her response, she said, I get to drive my kids to school every day. I get to pick my kids up. I get to go to their soccer tournaments, their baseball tournaments. I get to do this stuff every single day. And if I had a 9 to 5, I wouldn't be able to do these things. So basically being grateful and thankful for what this job does give you, even though it's a headache, and even though we want to throw in the hat sometimes, I wouldn't be able to pick my kid up from school every day. I wouldn't be able to drop him off to school every day. I wouldn't be able to, you know, go and do whatever it is I do, speak on stages and do all these things. I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff that I do now with a regular 9 to 5 job. If I was still working in dental, I wouldn't be living in this house, that's for sure. Not even that it's a big fancy house, but I sure as hell wouldn't be able to afford it. You know what I'm saying? So, it's the perspective. And I had this conversation. Um, I closed a $2 million house, biggest deal I've ever done, 2.25 million. It was at 2% commission, okay? And at first I was like, oh my gosh, I wish this was 3%. But let me think about perspective here. My commission at 2% was more than I made for an entire year at my dental job. So like I can't really be spitting at it, right? Like we got to have perspective here, right? Like I could not even imagine. Like years ago, I remember before I got into real estate, I remember thinking, gosh, if I could just make $50,000 a year, if I could just make $60,000 a year, I would be so happy. And I have far exceeded that. So I think even on those tough days, we have to remember it's worth it in the end because while it's a headache and while we lose deals and while we struggle to find new clients and Marissa and I were just talking about I do all these things for my clients and past clients to stay relevant and you don't get a response from them and it feels like why am I even doing this stuff? Why am I spending the money and doing these things? But at the end of the day, it's worth it. Maybe they didn't respond to me on that card, sending them that little card for St. Patrick's Day, but maybe that's going to remind them of me and they might send something to their friend, or they might reach out to me in 2 months and say, hey, we're thinking about selling. And I just have to keep doing what I'm doing because I know that I'll get it in return eventually. So that was just my little mindset reset right there. Lindsay's over there clapping. Thank you. It is hard. I mean, Lindsay's a new agent. She's been doing this a year plus. So, like, and she's freaking crushed it. But I think, Lindsay, I see it. You're able to spend time with your kids. You're able to have spring break home. You don't have to worry about a babysitter for spring break, and you don't have to do all these things that you had to do before. So it's nice to be able to have all of that. And I wish more than anything, I could have had it when they were little. So you and Marissa, you guys are so lucky to have all of that and be able to be present because I wasn't. And you miss it. And now I came home, literally, you guys. Sorry, side note, I come home from my vacation. I was gone for a week. My son is 2 inches taller now. I swear to you, I can barely see over his shoulder now. I was like, I'm standing behind him. He's brushing his teeth last night. I went, when did you grow? I've been gone for 6 days and you're 2 inches taller. I swear to you. So long story short, just hold on to those days and be happy. Okay. So let's get into this. We're already like 20 minutes into this hour and we've been chatting, but I think it's all good stuff because I think sometimes we have to get that little mindset change around and switch around there. So, Jeremy, I'm calling on you. You've been doing this a minute, so I'm calling on you. I'm going to give you basically an objection, and I want to see how you would handle it, okay? So, what if you went to somebody, like let's say you have a buyer. Let me figure out which one I want to do. What would you say when a client becomes extremely emotional or frustrated? Maybe they're getting mad about something, or they're just frustrated because they wrote 5 offers, they're not getting anything, their lease is coming up to be renewed, and they're under the pressure. How would you handle that situation?
Um, well, Nicole, I understand the frustration. My goal is to help you get to your dream home, you know, the right time, the right place. Sometimes it's not going to happen right away. And I just want you to know that I'm going to be there every step of the way. And I'm doing research while you're working to help you feel good, knowing that we're going to find the right home for you. And so let's just hang tight. I'm going to be looking. You'll be the first to know. See if we can't find your property. I understand the frustrations. I have been there before, and also I've helped other folks in your situation. So you're not alone in this. And I've been able to create some win-wins for folks in similar situations just like yours. So, man, let's just grab a drink real quick and let's sit back and hopefully we'll find something this weekend.
I like that. I mean, I would say something similar. I like to do stories. I always like to tell stories about, or like personal experiences, like I remember when I first tried to buy a house and
Mhm.
we put in offer after offer after offer, and it just becomes frustrating. You feel like maybe I should just rent. Maybe this is just a sign from the universe that I am just supposed to rent forever. And then next thing you think you find this house, you love it, and all of a sudden you forget about all the other houses. You don't even
Mhm.
care about that house. You forget what it even looked like when you end up getting the right one accepted. And I always think it's about the universe. The universe wants you in a certain place at the right time, like what you just said, Jeremy. And, same thing with when people are buying and selling at the same time. I kind of do the same thing. I'm always like, listen, like the universe works in crazy ways. Like I know you haven't seen the right thing on the market right now, but I swear you're going to list this house, you'll get it under contract, and the perfect house will end up showing up. I am,
Mhm.
I've never had anybody become homeless. You're not about to be the first one.
Yeah.
We will find you the perfect house and it'll all work out. So I like
Yeah.
that response.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
good.
it's, I think it always comes back to like, reassuring them that these are normal feelings, that it's
Yeah.
normal to be frustrated. It's normal to feel emotional and upset when you don't get that dream house.
Hmm.
But you never know. I mean, I had one. My client was so heartbroken over losing a house, absolutely heartbroken. And it was actually the agent who was selling the house, and she loved us. She loved me.
Hmm.
She was pregnant. I offered to pay for her maternity photos. I offered to do all this stuff to like really put our offer
Hmm.
over. At the end of the day, they had an offer that came in way higher than ours, which was like we were already way over. And guess what? It fell apart. And they came
Hmm.
right back to us and they were like, "Are your clients still interested?" And I think my clients, she probably went into convulsions. Like she was just
Hmm.
so excited. And they ended up getting the house and they actually got the house for less than they originally offered. So
Wow.
it worked out really great for them. And, some stuff like that happens. So again, that's the universe working in their way, in their benefit. And they, like I said, they got it for less than what they originally offered because they were kind of irritated. And they were like, listen, we threw all this stuff at the house to get it. You chose somebody else. So we're going to take some of that stuff back. Still going to give you a fair offer, but they end up getting their dream house for less. So
Love it. That's so
love that.
cool.
Angie, I'm going to call on you really quick. Can you answer real quick?
Yes, sorry.
Okay, that's okay because this was one that you just talked about when we were off camera. What if the buyer says that they want to waive inspection or they want to waive protections to win a house? How would you handle that?
Well, I've had it happen several times, and I usually kind of defer back, like you're saying, to a storyteller. But I would say, look, I'm getting paid to represent you to the best of my ability and to protect you and your interest. I never, under any circumstance, would recommend that you spend your money to purchase your biggest asset in most cases without a home inspection. You know, there's just so many unknowns.
Mhm.
And, I would hate for you in a month to call me and tell me all of these things had gone wrong and it's going to cost you all this money. And I've had it happen before. I've had first-time home buyers call me that they were at their top of the budget and they spent so much money that now they can't, you know, put in a new HVAC. And so it's just for me to represent you to the best of the ability. I need to be holding all the cards, looking at all the cards so I can give you my best advice. And if we go in and we find something, now is the time where I can negotiate it. I can negotiate it off the purchase price. I can have the repairs made at no expense to you. Sorry, we have a puppy. Um,
Oh.
so I would recommend that we always do the home inspection. We can make your offer enticing with a home inspection.
Yep. I like that. I do the same thing. I always tell my people, I understand what you want to do. I'll leave the ball in their court. What I basically say is very similar. I want to make sure that you are not buying a money pit. My job is to make sure that you are protected. If you choose to waive your home inspection, that's up to you. I would never recommend that anyone buy a house without a home inspection. But if you want to do that because you believe that that's what's going to get you this house, I'm happy to write it up. However, I would suggest maybe doing something different, like a home inspection for information purposes only, or a pass fail. Although I think the verbiage on a pass fail is a little gray. I would rather you go in and just say, I just want to do an inspection for my own peace of mind. We're not going to negotiate. We're not going to ask for anything, just so then you at least know what you're buying, and then kind of leaving it in their court on how they want to do it. But I hate doing no inspections. I think we did it a lot during COVID because we had to. Um, but at the end of the day, those people are probably kicking themselves for not doing a home inspection because you don't know what you're buying. You're going in blind and it's like you said, your biggest asset likely. So
Have
it's
you
difficult.
had luck with pass fail? I've had like three out of however many houses I've sold, and all of them either didn't work or the pass fail, they still ended up coming back and asking for something.
So I have done it where we said we were not going to negotiate on anything and then still negotiated on stuff because we found big ticket items. not because it was piddly little things, but it was like, whoa, we had no idea that there was, mold in the attic. We did not realize that I can't even think of what it was, but I have negotiated down on some things, even after saying we weren't going to come back and negotiate. Um, at the end of the day, it's always a negotiation. One purchase agreement can be overridden by a addendum or anything else. So I always say everything is still negotiable, even if, like, I've explained this to people as when people say, well, we're selling the house as is. And I'm like, that's fine. That's not going to stop somebody from asking for something, though. They might still ask for a repair. They might still ask for a concession. Whether you're selling it as is or not doesn't matter. The as is you're not going to go and put a patio on the back to make them happy and make them want to buy the house. You're saying you're thinking as is, they're buying the house just like this. I'm not doing anything. And that's fine. You have the right to say no to any negotiations or any requests, but it would be in your best interest to try to keep this offer moving forward. And if we can come to a agreement, and maybe what they're asking for is pretty reasonable, or maybe you didn't even know it existed, and you're like, oh crap, I wouldn't want that in my new house. Maybe you're going to be a little bit more willing to negotiate with them just to get us to the finish line and get you guys in your new house. So that's usually how I would handle that part. But the pass fail, in experience, I don't like to write pass fail. I have done it twice, I think, ever. I think it's very gray because an inspector doesn't say this house passes, this house fails. It's your decision. And, it's the buyer's
interpretation.
Perception, or interpretation of the inspection. Yes, this passes my expectations. No, it doesn't. And what do I want to do now? So I don't like writing pass fail. I just feel like it's yes, I want to move on, or no, I don't. So for information only, you're basically doing the same thing. I'm inspecting it to make sure I'm happy with what I'm buying. Pass or fail. Same thing. Lindsay, can you come off? Is that okay? All right. Let's do one. I have a whole bunch here that I wanted to go through. What would you say? This is kind of an easy one because I think we've all been in this situation. What would you say if somebody, let's say you've already showed them 15 houses, and you know what? We still we want to keep looking. We're not like, none of these houses are exactly what we want. We want to keep looking. How would you handle that?
You broke up for a second.
Oh.
So we're working with someone that's looking at 15 houses.
Yeah. Let's say that they've looked at 15 houses, but they still want to continue. They're not happy with what they found. They haven't written any offers, and you're just out showing them houses every weekend, every week, and you're getting nowhere.
I would approach it with understanding a little bit more of exactly what they're looking for, like get a little bit more of a detailed understanding. Because like maybe they've changed, maybe they've gone out there and they have realized they want something different. I'm very patient, especially with my first time home buyers. Like I've been there where it's like that, especially for my newer. Obviously, everyone's been there. But I think that would just be my biggest thing, is kind of like going over another consultation again to see what has changed with them. Where are their hearts really lying, and kind of an approach it that way. And understanding some of the other pain points too, like, are they just nervous financially? Like, what do their financials really look like? Like maybe they're not pulling the trigger because of that reason, and then that needs to be rediscovered. So there's obviously some sort of underlying issue there that I would start to dig at.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I have no problem with showing people lots of houses. I always tell them, you're not going to have pressure from me. I'm not going to pressure you into buying anything, especially if it's not right. But when it comes down to putting in an offer, you got to listen to my advice, and I had this situation with people I looked at. Lindsay, I know you know who I'm talking about here, where I showed them houses for 2 years. And every time we went to put an offer in, they wouldn't follow my directions. They wouldn't listen. And they're or they gave me this excuse, well, it's just not the right size. And then they'd send me 4 houses exactly the same. Like a 3-bedroom, 1,000 square foot ranch is the same 3-bedroom, 1,000 square foot ranch all across the board. They're all the same. So like, is it the house? Is it the financials? Is it the commitment? Like, what is it that you're scared of? And for them, which is exactly what I was concerned with and what I thought it was going to be, was it was the financial commitment, which is funny because they've been renting for years and you're fine with committing to renting at a much higher rate than what your mortgage will be. And you get nothing when you leave, but you want, and this is a great conversation again. Like, this is another tough conversation when somebody says, like I said earlier, oh, I'm just going to rent forever. Maybe this is just not the right thing for me. I'm just going to rent forever. And then you're having this conversation of, okay, you want to rent forever. You've already been renting for how long? 2 years at, $1,800 a month or $2,000 a month. Add that up. When you walk away, you get $0 from that. If you buy this house, your mortgage payment is $2,000. When you decide to move out or this house isn't working for you anymore, maybe your family grows or your needs change, you can sell the house and make money and walk away. It's an investment. So even if you live in this house for 2 years, if you can commit to 2 years at this price, you're going to be better. You go live in a rental, you're going to end up, you're stuck with, them raising the rates, you're stuck with the location, you're stuck with all of this. When you can have what you want and a yard and all the stuff that you've been looking for, it's going back to the pain points, right? Like you just said, like figuring out what it is that they really want and how they're not getting it in their current situation. And same thing with, I want to keep looking. I want you to find the best house. I don't want you to settle because you're frustrated. I want you to find the house that's going to fit you perfectly. And I think that also goes into the same thing as, like, let's say they tell you they want a 4-bedroom on an acre and a half at least, and they want all these things. And then all of a sudden they're looking at condos and you're like, okay, wait, this is not what we talked about. Where is this change coming from? Like, this is nothing like what you said you wanted. You wanted a yard. Now you're looking at these little houses in these little neighborhoods with postage stamp size yards. That's not what you wanted. Like, let's talk about what you really want. I know you're getting frustrated, so you're like, you feel like you have to settle, but why don't we just expand a little bit? Or why don't we do this? Or why, and kind of giving them a little bit of a help and trying to figure out what we could do to get them to find the right house. Maybe it's expanding the search a little bit or looking in a different area or maybe getting rid of that 4th bedroom, but making sure that they have, a den or something like that. There could be a lot of different things.
Sometimes I'll entertain the ideas of something opposite of what they want because it solidifies why they don't want it. Because a picture they're going to see and they, oh, maybe that'll work. And then when they get in it, they're like, oh gosh, no, this is definitely not what I want. So like I just did that this last weekend. We were looking at homes, huge lots, and and they want to be in this neighborhood. In the same neighborhood, another one had popped up, and the driveway was like literally in the front door. And I knew in my head, I'm like, this is not for you guys, but let's go and entertain it so that they solidified, yeah, this is not for us.
Right. Well, and I think I've heard of agents doing this too with price point, right? Like maybe they're looking at like their price point is here to here. And we know that they can truly afford this, but they want to be in this area. So why don't we show them houses a little bit closer, a little bit higher, a little different. And then they're going to realize, oh, what I pay for this price, I can get everything that I want at this price when I'm frustrated because I'm not finding what I want, but I can go up a little bit higher in my budget and I can get everything I want. And I feel like that is where the magic happens. Like I like to show people stuff. Like if I see a house that I'm like, I really think they're going to like this house, I will work to convince them to go and see it. Like if I think this one is everything you want. I know maybe it's not in the exact area you want, or maybe it's not whatever, but it's perfect. Let's go look at it. Somebody might be willing to add another 10 minutes to their drive in order to find the perfect house. So I always like to keep my eyes open just in case. Let's see. Jeremy, can I call on you again? Okay. How do you handle the conversation And I think we touched on this a little bit on the last call. I can't remember, but um, if somebody says, why should I pay a buyer agent commission? Like you're the listing agent. How do you talk to your clients about paying a buyer agent commission or compensation?
I'm the listing agent.
You're the listing agent.
Well, no, I get what you're saying, Nicole, but here's what I've noticed is that right now the way that the seller have always done it, they've always paid for the sellers or the buyer, I'm sorry, the buyer has always paid it. It's just been a part of the transaction. So in this regards, right now, if you choose not to, I'm gonna just be straight up and honest with you. I don't list any home unless I know that the seller is willing to pay for the buyer's commission. The reason why is because they're gonna choose to go someplace else that a seller is willing to pay the commission. So at this point, I'm only willing to work with people that will pay for the buyer's agent's commission because at the end of the day, that's just a negotiation tool right at the beginning of it that you don't have to worry about. And so if you say that you're not willing to pay for their commission, then there's going to have concerns about what other items are that you're not willing to pay for or take care of in the transaction.
That makes sense. Yeah. I handle it kind of, I don't tell them I'm not going to work with them. I
Um,
really try to get them to see the value of a buyer agent because I can't tell you, I'm sure you've all heard it on a listing appointment, is that the buyer agent doesn't do much. Why should I pay? The buyer agent doesn't do much, and you do way more work. And I'll usually say, honestly, we both do a lot of work.
yeah,
I work
yeah.
with buyers and sellers, and I can tell you, I feel like we talked about this on the last one. So I apologize to anyone who was already here for this, but, or maybe I just have said this enough that it feels repetitive. But I will say, I've worked with buyers for months and I'm showing them houses all over town. I'm driving an hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes. That's taking time away with my family. That's putting miles on my car. That's putting, that's a lot of work. I'm doing
Mhm.
research. Like there's a lot of stuff that buyer agents do on the back end. They're calling the listing agent. They're working on deals. They're trying to talk to the lender to make sure that they can afford the house. They're doing a lot of work. So the thing is that we want the buyer agent to bring qualified buyers to our house. And if we are not willing to pay a buyer agent to bring a qualified buyer to our house, we're now relying on a buyer to have all of the money for their down payment, all of the money for their closing costs, plus then your commission. So that, or plus
I,
the commission.
and I usually will kind of bring that up. So what I typically will talk about the listing table is different scenarios. So I say in your price point, 9 times out of 10, they're going to be asking you to pay for some of their closing costs because it actually just makes more sense for a buyer to ask you to pay for their closing costs instead of lowering the price. And so I kind of walk through those scenarios. So I just say, hey, you want to expect this on an offer. You want to expect that they're going to ask the seller to pay for their agent's commission and then expect probably, 3% on it. So when I provide net sheets here, I've already kind of created some net sheets on different scenarios. And then when I show them the CMAs, I'll print out a couple listings where at the bottom it shows that there was on some concessions. Um, can I just share something real quick? There's a
Yeah.
book that kind of talks a lot about the things that you're sharing, Nicole, and I thought I
Yeah.
would just hop. It was actually on on my desk. I was like, oh, I'll bring this up. It's a book.
Oh, yeah.
It's
You're
by Phil.
blurred, but I know exactly what book that is.
There, Phil. Yeah, it's by Phil Jones.
Mhm.
He's an amazing author and speaker and communicator about sales. It's called Exactly What to Say. So at my office, I'm doing a little book club on this. They're just cute little different chapters are like 2 pages long, and they're just about just different scenarios. So as Nicole was talking, I was like, man, that kind of reminded me about this. And then he has another one that's kind of exactly what to say or whatever. So they're
Yeah.
like
They have
eight or
the
nine
real estate
dollars.
version. So they have
Yeah.
exactly what to say real estate version, and then they have
Mhm.
exactly what to say in general. But
Yeah,
those
sure.
are good ones. And I've seen
Yeah,
him speak. He came into town. Another local realtor had
yeah.
him in town to speak, and I went to that. It was good. I mean, I love that book. I thought it was a fantastic book, and it goes into a lot of scenarios and how to to speak
Yeah.
to people in all different situations. So I
Yeah.
think it's great.
Anyways, I just thought I'd just bring that up. But yeah, that's typically what I try to do is just bring different scenarios, different way negotiating and things like that. So
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for sharing the book. It's a great one. You should post that in the group too. Um,
okay,
yeah, you should post it in there because I think it's a great book. Put the link to it too if you
I
could.
will. I'll do it right now.
Um, okay, what about Lindsay? What have you done in these situations where someone has said the interest rates are just way too high. I just want to wait for the rates to come down before I buy. Like this is just, I can't. I want that 3.5% or that 2.5% again. How would you handle that?
I hope you have a time machine, first off, because we're not there anymore, and we haven't been for a while. Like it's been a very long time since that's happened. And the only difference that has happened, aside from the rates going up, is also the prices of homes are going up. So I would, if I'm not talking to you, or another suggestion I would give them would be showing them prices of houses last year versus this year, or 2 years ago versus this year, to show them just the numbers. Like I just would go off of the numbers of what happens when you wait versus not. And then also giving the peace of mind that, hey, this interest rate doesn't have to be forever. You always can refinance. We work with great lenders that will do that. I don't want to say for free, but I know that there's like the one time deal that they sometimes do. So there's always like a plan B with that. The other aspect of it is, what their situation is. What else are they spending money on? What else are they wasting or spending their time on? Like maybe it's something that's trying to downsize and they're having to take care of their lawn and they don't want to anymore, but they don't want to get out of the interest rate. They're losing that time as well, not just money.
Right. Yeah, and I think that that's a big one too, is I had this conversation with clients before. It's like, yes, I understand that this price point feels high with this interest rate. However, next year, when you rent again and you come back to me next year and you say, okay, I'm ready to buy now, let's go. Guess what? Interest rate could be the same, could be higher. It might be lower, but it could be higher, could be the same. Let's just assume it's the same. Prices of these homes are going to go up, probably another $10,000. So now this house is listed at 300, is now 310, 320, 325. You're going to see it go up. So now your cost of waiting is another $25,000. I mean, I've seen it. The houses that were all 200, 250, somewhere in there, they're all 260, 275 now. So now what are you going to do? Like, are you getting a huge raise? Are you going to be able to afford, if 250 sounds too much right now, are you going to be able to do 270, 275? And who's to say what the market's going to be like? If the interest rate does come down, you know what happens? Buyers rush to the market because they want that lower price. They want that lower interest rate. So now you have way more competition. Now you're fighting for people or fighting for a house, which means you're going to have to go way over. Are you financially prepared for that? Probably not, right? Or could you be if that's the case? Or you buy the house now at a higher interest rate, you wait for it to go down, and then you do a refi. But you already own the house, so you don't have to fight anybody for it. So I think that one's a tough one because it's hard to get people to wrap their brain around it, or when we're fighting over, a $5,000 or $10,000 difference in price where the seller wants to be, the buyer wants to be, and you have to like reel it in and be like, listen, this is literally $20 a month. It's $20 difference. Are you willing to lose the house over $20 a month? Probably not. So stop looking at the big picture. Let's look at the little picture of what it's going to cost you per month versus per, the whole big ticket price, because that doesn't even matter. You're never going to pay that entire thing off. It does not matter. Let's look at what your monthly payment's going to be. Are you comfortable with that? Knowing that the taxes are going to go up, so this is going to go up a little bit, but let's make sure you're comfortable in this range to make sure that you can live here comfortably for the next 4 or 5 years, to when you want to sell, we can turn around, sell it, hopefully make a great profit, and you can go on and buy your next house. Let's see. What about, anyone can answer this question. I know, Lindsay, you've dealt with this. I've dealt with it. We've all dealt with this. When a seller says, why hasn't my house sold yet? It's been on the market for 40 days. Why isn't it sold yet? Is there anybody who wants to answer it? Marissa was so funny. She goes, "Don't call on me. I'm doing some other work. I'm not paying attention fully."
I can answer this one though. The
Okay,
market
go
has
ahead.
spoken, and as we were prepared when we had our initial conversation, we looked at a range, and it looks like the market is just telling us we might be closer to that 224 than the 250. I would love to have gotten you 260, 270 that you really needed to get out of this property, but I'm just the messenger, and the market has told us that we're probably closer to that 224. If we list there, then I'm going to do my best to get you pushed back up to that 230, 235 that you absolutely had to have. How does that sound? What if we did a whole marketing strategy? We get it down to the 224, double open houses. Let's really max this out and do the best we can with what the market's telling us.
Jeremy, unmute.
But what kind of marketing have you done, Marissa, on that particular property?
Yeah, great question. I've got 72,000 views between Zillow, my social media, and this email campaign that I push. I actually bought all of your neighbors' emails. That's one of my unique things that I do, and I market to them directly. I call your neighborhood to see if they know anyone looking into the area. I had about 7 great conversations. Unfortunately, no immediate buyers that came from it. But yeah, we've got this many leads, we've got this many eyeballs, we've got this. But what I would do differently with this price adjustment is I'm going to hit them all again and let them know that here's what we've done to improve and try and get some new eyes on the property for you.
So you don't think that we should just kind of wait and just keep having it on the market at this? I mean, what's
I've got
wrong?
a calculator that actually can come up with the amount of the cost that it would be for waiting for you, like every month what you lose by waiting. Would it be helpful if I sent you over that number?
Yeah, I mean, that'd be helpful. I mean, you said it was going to be 470 and now you want me to go to 460? Like, what's changed? What have you done?
Yeah, as I mentioned, those were all the eyes that I was able to get on the property. And like we talked about before, I'm just the messenger. Like I would give you $1 million for this house tomorrow if I could, right? If I had the magic money, like I would give you everything you wanted and then some. But I'm gonna deliver the message, whether we like it or not, of what the feedback is coming in and just what we're getting as far as offers and what people are willing to pay. So
Well,
unfortunately, that's putting us closer to that 460, 450.
what if we just staged it instead? What if we just staged it and put new pictures instead of knowing the price? Won't that help?
Yeah, great question. I'd be happy to bring out one of my stagers and they can give you a quote for doing that. And then my photographer, they usually 2, 3 days notice and we can get them back out. Would I do that? No, because they're going to pay for it and they're not going to want to. But if you are deciding that you're wanting to make that investment to try and help boost that extra 10,000, on average, stats say that it might end up getting us an extra 1% in your pocket. But let's look at that if that's something that you might want to do.
Awesome, because I'm gonna be doing that today.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be like, listen, if you guys aren't willing to lower the price, I think we should probably just take it off the market.
There is a calculator. I don't know what it's called, but your title company should have it. There's a
Yeah.
calculator that can literally tell them the amount
What
of
is it
waiting.
again?
I'd have to look back
No,
up. I
say
haven't used
calculator one more time.
calculator. But it's through my title. My title has like a million different tech things that they offer and whatever, and that's one of them that I know exists. Have I used it? No. But she showed it in this whole presentation thing of all the crap that we get, and it was interesting. It was actually very cool, but I just haven't. It hasn't made sense yet. But it will literally, like, if you put in like what their purchase price or what their asking price is or something, how long they want to wait for, and then like some other, like, because it'll pull like taxes and approximate what they're making and utilities and other stuff. And then it'll be like, okay, if you waited 3 more months, here's what you're paying every single month to do that. So minus that right off your net. So
Yeah, if y'all could send that to me, that'd be awesome. Our title companies don't really have that fancy software.
yeah.
Well, so the other thing is this is what my client just told me today. Well, we're not really in a hurry. We don't have to sell the house.
Yeah.
And it's like, I told this to Marissa, it's like, well, then you wouldn't have called me and told me that you wanted to sell the house if you didn't really want to sell the house.
Yeah, that's kind of where
You
they're
know?
at. They're like, well, we're not too much in a hurry. And I'm like, well, here's the thing, like people are gonna look and see that it's been on the market for this long, and they're gonna wonder what's wrong with it.
Right. They're going to start questioning, is there
Is
something?
is there something wrong with the house or there's something wrong with you?
Yeah.
as the seller.
Because this is the conversation, and I will tell people this is the conversation that I have with my buyers. When we look at a house that's been on the market for 50 days, we're going to say, okay, no price reductions. We've been on the market for 50 days, 60 days. It means one of two things. The buyer or the seller isn't willing to budge. This is the price they want. They are not budging at all. Or maybe there's something going on with the house, something that we are not seeing in the pictures. I notice there's only one picture of the basement. So maybe there's something going on in there and they are hoping that, they can get the house sold, and maybe they're willing to make concessions. Maybe they're willing to make changes in order to get the house, under contract. But we don't know because we haven't seen the house and we're not really sure what's going on with it. So, I mean, I always like to tell my people, like for instance, I'm dealing with one right now. It's been on the market far too long. No price adjustments. I told him the other day, hey, I really think we need to come down in price. I asked them to stage it. He said he didn't want to stage it. After we started getting feedback saying it felt too small, I staged it myself. I went out and bought all the stuff. I staged it. My son and I went over there, staged the house. Since then, we've had some decent feedback, but again, no offers. So that means we got to come down in price. So I had a conversation. I texted him the other day and just said, hey, here's where things are. You have other houses or other condos in this neighborhood that are currently on the market for less. The good thing is you're all on the market for about the same days. So it's showing us that we're in the right range, but not quite there because neither of you are selling your houses. So we need to figure out how we're going to get people interested. Whether and at the end of the day, it's going to come down to somebody feeling like they got a good deal. So if we come down, we need to come down under that other house. We'll do some new marketing. We'll do some new, some open house again. And because he said, well, why don't we just do another open house? And I said, because you've already done an open house at this price point, and we only got 2 people who came through. So I think what we need to do is lower the price, do another open house at that point, because now we're going to get new eyes on the house. Right now, if I do an open house, nobody's going to know because it's not going to alert anybody that there's a new open house. So what we're going to do is lower the price, even if it's just, by this amount. We're going to lower the price. It's going to pop into people's inboxes. We're going to put on there that we're doing an open house. I'm going to reach out to everyone else who I've already reach out to all the previous buyers who came through, or agents who came through, and let them know that we lowered the price. And hopefully we can get some interest, since we really need to get more eyes on the property. So we got to figure out some new ways of doing that. So, and I've also pitched to them, let's take it off the market for 30 days. Let's wait 30 days and put it back on the market. However, that's going to be April. That means we're going to have a lot more competition. So, it's one of those things. Do we leave it on the market as is and just hope for the best? Or do we take it off the market for 30 days, let the days reset on our listing, and then put it back up? So we have to decide what's going to be best in this scenario.
Good.
So Jeremy, today you're going to have this conversation with somebody?
Yeah.
How long has it been on the market?
Let's see. I can't see. Oh, there you go. Let's see. I'm about to have 2 conversations today. So this one that I'm talking about, 36 days, we've only lowered the price by 5K, and we haven't had a showing in like 2 weeks.
That's a hard one.
And it's in my neighborhood. So
what's the conversation you're gonna have there? That's the price reduction one?
yep. And then I'm driving over to another house that I'm lowering. I'm going to talk to them about lowering the price by 10K as well.
Yeah, we're at this house. We've been in this condo, been on the market for 50 days, no price adjustments, no nothing. I haven't had a showing on it. I had 1 showing on it recently, but it's like we're not getting anywhere, right? And that's the same conversation I had with my other people. It's like we had your house on the market for 60 days. We had 4 showings. Like that tells me right there that we are overpriced.
Yeah.
The market, if people aren't coming through to your house, and when they do, they're saying, whoa, this is not worth the price. Like we would never come close to this. We have obviously overshot with the price, which we knew. But it's one of those things. It's like, it's hard when you got people who want to test the market and they want to do these things, which is what we talked about in part one. But it is really hard. We have to have these tough conversations with these people because our goal is to sell the house. It's not just to sit with a sign in the yard.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to get paid at the end of the day. We all want the same thing.
Well,
So,
it kind of makes me look back because it's in my neighborhood.
right. Well, I mean, that's a hard one. So, I mean, have that conversation. Get
Oh, I
them
am.
down. Get them excited about a new open house. They love open houses. You don't have to love it, but they do. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up today. Thank you all for being on here. I appreciate all of the role playing and the answering of all these questions. I love it. Thank you guys so much. We'll be back in a couple weeks. And if you haven't gotten your tickets to Level Up, get your tickets for Level Up. April
Early
26th.
bird ends Friday.
Yes, early bird tickets are Friday. Jeremy, are you coming all the way to Michigan?
I would love to.
He's going to show up like, surprise, surprise.
Right?
Yeah, I'll be dressed up.
You don't have to dress up. You can come out, bring some friends. You can all come. It's at a hotel, so you can get the hotel block.
Let's go.
Listen, it's women led, not women exclusive. There will be other men in the room. You don't have to feel weird. You're one of the girls anyway, Jeremy. Come on.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Have an awesome day. We will see you all next time.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.